Oh, ladies and gentlemen, others, boys, girls of all ages, races, genders, and sexualities, welcome to the amazing, spectacular, fancy, super duper, space, future, sci-fi year of 2023, wherein Kamen Rider's Western distribution still sucks shit! Yeah, for those of you who may not be as aware of it as freaks like me, not all of Kamen Rider is legally viewable here in the United States of dumbassery. All of it can be found and watched, but not exactly in legal ways, in special ways that only special people really know about. Special people like me, who happen to cover their eyes in very special ways. Now true, some of it is legally watchable, but it's not the amount it really should be in the age of streaming, which is all of it. And before you start typing your comments, I know I've already gone on this rant twice before. I did it once on my Twitter, I did it once on my weekly Tokusatsu podcast, I did it with Buster Gore, link up in the cards, and now I'm doing it once here. But it's only been a few weeks since I went on that first rant, and I think I can expand on it a lot more here, and a lot of my points are still valid, so we're gonna do it. And the best way to do it, I think, is to start from the beginning, to understand how we got to this weird place that we're in, and unfortunately that means I have to talk about Masked Rider.
Vac, what the hell is Masked Rider?
Excellent question, young Padawan. You see, back in the 90s, I was on a very famous TV show. It was called Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and my boss, Haim Saban, was making a shit-zillion dollars off of that thing. So he went to the people who gave him the fight footage for Power Rangers, Toei, and said, hey, you got anything else I can make a shit-zillion dollars off of? And they said, sure, take Kamen Rider Black RX. We're not doing anything with Kamen Rider as a franchise right now, so we really don't care what you do as long as you come back with some money. And not only did he not come back with money, he came back with complete ass cancer. Yeah, I'm not going to go into detail, mainly because Hugbees already did it way better than I ever could, but just trust me when I say Masked Rider is bad. So bad, in fact, that the original creator of Kamen Rider, Shotaro Ishinomori, is alleged to have decreed that there would never be another American adaptation of Kamen Rider again in the wake of it. And for a long time, there really wasn't. Heck, during the original Heisei boom of Toei didn't even really promote Rider outside of Japan all that much. But it still managed to gain popularity over here on the internet through fan subs being released on things like IRC chats.
Vac, what the heck is an IRC chat?
I don't fucking know. Go ask Vangelis. He's the one who told me that. Anyway, I've often kind of theorized that early leak out into the West is how we got Kamen Rider Dragon Knight, which was an adaptation of Ryuki made by people who didn't really have any real backing. They weren't signed to a network. They just went to Toei and said, hey, we want to make a new American Kamen Rider. We're not going to do that cheesy Masked Rider bullshit. We're going to make a real adaptation. We want to use the original suit actors and everything. And Toei just kind of went, well, okay. And then they made it, and they forwarded it out onto the CW, and there wasn't any real promotion, and they described it as, this is for people who are tired of the kiddie bullshit in Power Rangers, right at the same time RPM was airing. They got fucked. But nevertheless, Rider's popularity did persist online, to the point where by the time the 2010s rolled around, it was kind of easy to stumble across fan subs and fan edits and other fan things on the internet. Heck, that's partially how I got into Tokusatsu. I just listened to a podcast of two guys talking about how much they enjoy Kamen Rider and other shows. Again, shout out to Vangelis and Apollo Z Hack. So with fan subs that released within the same day or week as the newest episode becoming a very common thing, of course, Toei and Bandai themselves cottoned on to this, and that's how we got things like Toku Shoutsu, which was Shout Factory essentially saying, hey, our Super Sentai DVDs are selling fairly well, why don't we start doing Kamen Rider? So they just licensed a smattering of shows. If memory serves, it was the original series, Kuga, and 01, which had just ended at the time. And so with the help of a new group within Bandai called Team Rider, they started releasing those sub shows on streaming services. They had their own kind of streaming thing going on at the time, and they made a subsection of it, which was just called Tokusatsu, and you could go there, you could watch the Kamen Rider, Super Sentai, whatever other shit they had. It was pretty solid, but there were no physical releases right up until the announcement of this. Shout Factory's release of Kamen Rider 01, the complete series, plus the movie Real X Time. This is a pretty solid release of the show. It uses the TV rips, which aren't as high quality as I think a lot of people were expecting, but it still looks pretty good. The subs are solid. There's a few slight little taste issues I have with them, but nothing major, and overall it's pretty good. It's just it's basic, it's bare bones. They use the same artwork on this and all of the discs, and the menus are just incredibly simplistic loops of the theme song and the same background image. There's no bonus features, there's no custom disc design. It feels very weak in comparison to a lot of the stuff I grew up with, because I grew up during the big boom of DVDs when every show got a really impressive complete season box set with custom menus and a different character highlighted on each disc, and this has none of that. The most notable thing about this is if you pre-ordered it, you got a poster of the artwork, which of course I did because we don't get a lot of full-size Tokusatsu posters over here. But honestly, this really felt like they were just testing the waters, and I think that's why a lot of us bought it, because 01 was a pretty divisive show at the time, but I think a lot of us took the same stance that I did to buying Jew Ranger when that came out as the first Super Sentai DVD in the West. Well, if we buy this and it sells well, maybe we'll get more, and maybe I'll get my favorite season. And I still haven't. No, in fact, their next release was this, Kamen Rider Kuga, the complete series. Now, I was much more excited to get Kuga because Kuga's one of the all-time great Kamen Rider series, in my opinion. I'm gonna do a video about it someday, but it's the same format. It's all the episodes on a bunch of discs, same artwork over and over again. The theme song just repeats on the menu ad infinitum, and don't get me wrong, Kamen Rider has great opening theme songs, but they don't exactly work for DVD menus, and most of these shows have the scores very easily available. You could have picked out a much better track from either show to use for DVD menus. And there was a pre-order poster, and that, again, that's it. No bonus features with this. The most interesting thing about it was that you could choose to have the Grongi translated or not on the subtitle track, which is nice. That's something that I really feel is important for Kuga. I think everybody should watch it twice, once without the Grongi translated, once with the Grongi translated, but that doesn't change the fact that there's just not a lot going on here. And to make matters worse, on my particular copy, got biffed pretty bad. I don't know if you've noticed yet, but there's a nice little chunk taken out of it, and that had to have happened during manufacturing or packing, because the box wasn't damaged at all when it got to me. I just opened it up and it looked like this. And before someone who works for Shout Factory contacts me and says oh, we'll send you a replacement, I don't want a replacement. The discs are fine, it still opens and shuts fine, it's just a cosmetic thing, but it's annoying nonetheless. And as I understand it, I'm not the only one who's experienced this kind of stuff. A lot of recent Shout Factory releases have had structural issues with the actual plastic that makes up the box. And I wouldn't be coming after them for this basic bare bones approach, because I know DVDs and Blu-rays and home releases in general are very much a novelty thing in this day and age, but they've been doing this shit since they put out Transformers Prime on DVD. I bought that when it came out. It was just as bare bones as this. Oh wait, no it wasn't. There was actually a behind the scenes feature on the first season. So, guys, what are you doing? It's issues like that that led to me deciding not to pre-order the Ryuki box set when they announced it a few weeks back. Well, that and the fact that I haven't actually seen Ryuki, even though I've seen all of Dragon Knight, because you can find Dragon Knight fairly easily if you know where to look, even though it's never been legally released on home video in the US. And that whole situation with Shout Factory is just compounded by the fact that Discotech has now entered the Kamen Rider releasing arena, because they're not content to just release anime anymore. They apparently have the rights to Shin, Zio, J, and Black, and they've already announced a full box set for Black that's coming out. They announced it like the day before Black Sun released on Amazon, and it sent my whole Tokusatsu podcast into an uproar.
Quick correction from the editing bay here. Media Blasters has the rights to Shin, Zeto, and J. Discotech does have the rights to Black. They are putting out that complete series box set. I was right about everything else I said there. I just completely forgot that Media Blasters exists, because they only announced that they had the rights to Shin, Zeto, and J, and then never put the box set up for pre-order, and it's been like almost a year now. Okay, back to the main video.
And knowing what we know now, that actually seems like a really good box set. It's got some custom cover art, it's got a whole slew of bonus features and extra material they didn't have to put on there. It's a loud-ass truck. And just generally, it seems great, and it came at a perfect time for me because I just finished watching Black a few months ago. I'd love to have that show on DVD or Blu-ray now. But the thing is, it's kind of weird and confusing that two different companies are going to be distributing Kamen Rider on home video in the West now. Like, I guess you could say, oh, Shout Factory's going to do Heisei and Reiwa, and Discotech is going to do Showa. But, like, Shout Factory already has the streaming rights to 1971. Who's to say they're not going to do a DVD release for that? Is Toei just letting companies grab bag piecemeal their own libraries together? Because if so, even though those are going to be suggested right next to each other on Amazon one day, it's going to get kind of confusing for general audiences. Like, if your favorite show is Kuga and it doesn't have a bunch of bonus features but Black does, that's got to upset you at least a little. Or say you really want a Kamen Rider Black poster, but that's not coming with your Discotech release? Sorry, bud. These are minor things, I know. To most people, it's just nice that Rider is finally getting released in the West in general, but it really bothers an OCD fellow like myself. Especially when you consider that Team Rider is out there at the same time just putting out whatever Toei Bandai announces in the West, even though a lot of the Geo merch they initially released shelf-warmed like crazy in GameStops and Barnes & Nobles. I mean, they've released pretty much every Geats toy for fans over in the States, but doing that just raises the question, why isn't Geats itself legally available in the States? Why aren't they simulcasting that shit? Like, seriously, the other day Team Rider went, oh, new CSM Kabuto Sector coming? We'll release that for you guys. And I was like, oh, that's great. Where's Kabuto? I haven't watched it yet. Where is it? We're gonna go watch it, guys. Where are you going? Why are you leaving? I just want to talk. Get back here. I'm not going to hurt you. I just want to talk. Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot. It's on the Toei Tokusatsu YouTube channel, where, to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the franchise, they released the first 2 episodes of every shows, and then nothing else. Except for in the random strange cases where they released random obscure toku shows Toei has made, and only the first 2 episodes were subbed. The whole rest of it had no subs. You had to figure that shit out yourself. Oh, and also, you had the fun of discovering that some of it had problematic shit that goes against YouTube's terms of service that Toei just straight up didn't edit out. It just comes off as so lazy and half-hearted at a time when Toei should really be pushing for Rider in the West. I mean, I understand why they don't do it with Sentai, because there's probably a conflict of interest with Hasbro there, but like, people have been literally screaming for over a decade, hey, we really like Kamen Rider. We'll watch it, we'll buy the toys, we'll middleman that shit, we'll use special methods to watch it if we have to. But no. And the insane thing is, I wouldn't even be making this video. I wouldn't even be constantly going on this rant and badgering Team Rider on Twitter, which is perfectly valid, by the way. They have a legitimate connection to Bandai and Toei. They're the only people we have who can go, why aren't you simulcasting this shit? Because Toei should be simulcasting this shit, because Soberaya is right fucking there doing it with Ultraman. There's an official Ultraman YouTube channel where for the last few years, the new episodes have been streamed the same day as they air in Japan with fully done integrated English subtitles. Not only that, but some of the sideshows are even getting dub releases. And you know what? I'm willing to bet Tsuburaya is getting a shit ton of ad revenue off of that. So it's utterly baffling to me that Toei, the ultimate tokusatsu penny pinchers, aren't doing the same thing. It wouldn't even be that hard. All you need to do is hire a couple of interns to translate the scripts and throw the files on YouTube every week. I'm willing to bet you could find any number of fans working in the fan sub community right now who would do that shit for you, Toei. Heck, I'd do it for free. I don't know how I'd do it. I don't know a fucking lick of Japanese. My Nihongo is not Jozu at all, but I'd give it a shot because I love this franchise. I love Kamen Rider, and I want people to be able to get easy access to it. I mean, it just shouldn't be this hard. I shouldn't have to stand out in the middle of a fucking parking lot and rant at a camera like a madman in order to be able to give you money. What good is releasing these ridiculously expensive roleplay toys when we have no context for them, and then doing these fan meetups with the same 20 internet personalities every few months that seem to go nowhere and accomplish nothing except for a cute school picture day-esque photo? I just don't get it. I just don't get why this is hard. Sure, maybe there's a conflict of interest when it comes to Sentai with Hasbro, but other than maybe the rights being tied up by the Shout Factory and Discotech releases, it should be so easy to put Rider out in the West, and they just don't. It should be so easy to give us those back catalogs and stream the current show and give us a reason to want to pay $160 for a DX Vision driver. Team Rider, are you fucking kidding me? Fix your shit, John Toei. It's a new year, time to make some positive changes in your life, because if you don't, I'm gonna find you and shove this rusty piece of shit right up your ass. Until next time. This is the Vacuuminator reminding you that you never fail until you stop trying, so I'm never gonna stop trying to make this happen. I will add every fucking account I have to make my message clear. I will make this video again next year if I have to. But until then, fuck this shit. I'm out.